All right, it is now 6 o'clock on Monday, November the 18th at 6 p.m. And I call this council meeting to order. We can forego the roll call because we're all here. I would invite Archbishop Albert Harvey from the Inspired Christian Catholic Orthodox Church to come and give our invocation.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come together as one people, one member of your holy church. We give you thanks because it's our right and our bounden duty always and everywhere to give thanks to you. Today we give you thanks for the leadership of this great city, for the tireless work they do in making our lives better, for the servitude, for all the grief they have to put up with when things don't go the way that citizens would like them to. We'd ask that you grant them wisdom as they navigate through the extraordinary growth that is set before us, that is coming like it or not. We'd ask that you be especially with the members of this community, with the people of this community. Send sufficient amounts of your Holy Spirit to rest upon them that they might have patience as they endure the ever-increasing traffic problems that are the result of the growth. We'd ask that you watch over, guide, and direct each and every one of us as we go through this day and the coming week. In Christ's holy and gracious name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Archbishop. Moving into our citizen comment period, we have one, but we're going to wait on that one until the action item comes up. Moving into presentations, updates, and reports, our city manager, or our deputy city manager can give us that.
Mayor and council, just real quick, a couple of things. Our employee service awards are going to be this coming Friday from 11 to 1 here at the community center, so if you can stop by, we'll have lunch. Also, Main Street between Merritt and Flowers is going to be closed tomorrow between 9:30 to 1-ish for some exploratory, call it exploratory digging over there. Other than that, no food truck Friday this Friday or next, and then also the city offices will be closed next Wednesday after that. So that's all I got.
Y'all, we sure y'all messing with the public back here, because we can't not hear y'all back here.
I'll get it wrong.
What are we exporting digging over there?
So,
Sewer. Okay.
All right. Moving into our monthly finance report for October 2024.
Okay. This report represents a general overview of financial operations through October 2024. That's it.
It was.
Sorry. Which is the first month of the fiscal year 24-25. The budget is at 8.33% complete for the fiscal year. Beginning balances are audited, however, ending balances are unaudited and subject to change until the city completes the fiscal year 23-24 audit. A presentation of this audit is scheduled for March 2025. Budget numbers are adopted budget for fiscal year 24-25. For general fund, we have total revenues at $458,898 or 4% of budget. Please note that some line items for October reporting period show zero or no activity. This is because revenue has been accrued back to September as collections pertain to the previous fiscal year. October revenues are expected to begin reflecting in December. The total expenditures are $451,423 or 4% of budget, which is 10.7% less than last year to date. Revenues are over expenditures by $7,475. It's important to note that for the month of October and November, revenue intake is low due to a current revenue to the previous fiscal year to reflect proper reporting. Staff will keep monitoring the revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year. For water and sewer fund, the total revenues are $678,808 or 9% of budget, which is 29.9% more than last year to date due to billing collections. Total expenses are $289,090 or 4% of budget, which is 5.7% more than last year to date. However, expenditures are trending 4% lower than budgeted numbers for the fiscal year. Revenues are over expenses by $389,719 due to the revenue collection reflecting higher and department expenses lower. For solid waste fund, total revenues are at $70,737 or 8% of budget, which is trending within budget. The total expenses are $10,670 or 2% of budget, which is trending 5% less than year to date. Revenues are over expenses by $60,067 due to timing of invoices. The October invoices for waste services was processed in November. For the fiber fund, total revenues are at $25,417 or 5% of budget, which is 42% more than last year to date due to the increase of several Dayton signups. Total expenses are $15,713 or 1% of budget, which is 37.5% less than last year to date. Revenues are over expenses by $9,704 for October due to lower department spendings for the month. However, it's important to note that as the fiscal year progresses, additional expenditures will be necessary to sustain day-to-day operations for our citizens.
All right, thank you. Any other things you want to note? Moving into mayor, staff, and council comments. Anybody have any comments?
I do have a few. First, just to make the public aware that November 30th, we're on the Christmas at the Crossroads, which is presented by Market 535. December 6th, 7th, and 8th is our annual Spirit of Christmas here for the city of Dayton. Friday the 6th, they're going to have the cookie crawl, which is also co-sponsored with the Chamber of Commerce. And on the 7th, that's when we have our parade and our tree lighting and a host of entertainment and other things happening here at the community center. And then on Sunday the 8th, we're going to have a live nativity and some local church choirs are going to be having some performances here. And for all 3 days, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we're having the Nutcracker Market here at the community center, and everyone is welcome and encouraged to attend. Saturday, December 14th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., the Dayton Volunteer Fire Department is hosting a blood drive that's also going to be at the Crossroads Plaza. Thank you.
I would like to speak as a member of this council. And I would like to share, I know we have a lot of activities going on within the city, and the city is doing some really good, awesome things. And we're trying to do positive things in the city to keep the city united. However, everything isn't what they seem to be. And I know that my comments may make some uncomfortable. I'll take this moment to share a lot of things that's transpired in our city over the last couple of months. We've asked the citizens to give us time to do our due diligence. I'm quite disappointed as a council person that sits in this chamber of how we've represented ourselves to the public. I'm even more disappointed in in the fact that we have allowed ourselves to get caught up in a waste of the city time and their money. For the record, at the end of this meeting, whatever decisions are made, I want you, the taxpayers, know that of this city council, I did not I was not active, or I didn't approve of some of the actions that we made as city council by how we just wasted our time. You know, we spent months on a budget, going back and forth. Last year, when I served as city council, my first year, I think we were able to get the budget reviewed, approved, and put in place in a couple of months. Some on parts of others, some on parts of, our decision making and working collectively as a group. Have we worked collectively as a group this year? No, we haven't. When I took the oath to serve and be transparent. I wanted what was best for the city of Dayton. I campaigned on a live, work, and play city, not just for today, but for tomorrow. My family's been in Dayton since the 1900s. I love the city of Dayton. I can't go to the grocery store without being confronted about some things that they've heard. The citizens, you, the taxpayers, have heard. Some may be true, some not. I go to church and I am cornered. I go to a restaurant, I am cornered. I've been told at least 6 times in the last week that there are certain citizens that want this whole entire council recalled. And that's your choice, because you all put us here. Can we do better? Yes, we can. My hope and my prayer that we come together collectively to do what's best for this city and move the city in the right direction. We're growing. We're in the spotlight. Dayton is one of the fastest, smallest growing cities outside the Houston Metroplex area. And there's so much work to be done that I hope we can put our focus on moving the city forward, progressing as a unit, in unity, and understanding that we may not all be the same, but when it comes to serving the people, we have to be in and on one accord. And that's what I want to share with you and this council.
All right, moving into the consent agenda. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda passes. It is now 6:14 p.m. and I recess this council to executive session. All right, it is 6:57, and I recess this executive session and reconvene our main city council session. We're going to jump down to action item 10A. Consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-105, approving a development agreement with MI Homes of Houston LLC.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As we've discussed, this is a proposed development that would be on Highway 90, just east of 1413. MI Homes of Houston is the developer, and they're looking to put in just south of 1,000 homes there. And under this agreement, it would be via an in-city MUD, and they would install the infrastructure to get all the way out there to their development. And that's it. If you have any questions?
I motion that we approve resolution R 2024-105, approving a development agreement with MI Homes Houston LLC.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 10A passes. Item 10B, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-95, approving a utility agreement with MI Homes of Houston LLC.
So, Mayor and Council, this is part 2 of this one. This is the section that deals with the actual utilities itself.
I motion to approve R 2024-95, approving utility agreement with MI Homes of Houston LLC.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 10B passes.
Thank you.
Okay, jumping back to action item 8A. Consider with possible action on ordinance number O 2024-28, approving a zoning map amendment request for a property located at 4545 FM 1960, Dayton, Texas 77535, legally described as Maysville, Block 11, Plot PT Track 3, to make a zone change from rural agricultural to industrial.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You all have seen this item before. This is returning from a table that was tabled at the last meeting. The developer or the applicant is proposing to turn this rural agricultural tract located along FM 1960 to an industrial zone designation. The proposal comes with a site plan, and this is unusual for the proposal comes with a site plan, which is different than just a blanket zoning amendment. You all are to consider the zoning that is going to go with this site plan. The site plan is going to give parameters to how this property can develop if you so choose to approve it. So we're talking about maximum footprint for the building itself and square footage, green space, buffering, etc. can all be discussed underneath the site plan. That basically limits the property to the development as it is proposed. This is the applicant's presentation. Okay. You all have a line item that is, or a sketch of basically what they're proposing to do on the site. That site gives you the dimensions of everything. It shows where the detention pond is going to be laid. and then roughly the parking area, also with the building area and the setbacks. Now, when you all approve, if you all decide to approve the site plan or put any conditions on the site plan, those things will be deliberated with the UDC and the development codes and standards in place. So just because you see this particular sketch and schematic, it isn't the full development. The buffers still have to be considered, the parking islands still have to be considered. There's certain development standards that still will come into place if you all decide to move forward with it. When we took this item to Planning and Zoning Commission, staff recommended denial, but Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. So we present this to you with those recommendations.
Okay.
So Chris,
I do,
I have a question. So you said that, what is your recommendation from a city planning perspective? I know that the committee met and they voted.
Yeah.
Can you,
Staff recommended denial based on it not being able to meet the criteria. We are subject to meet 3 criteria inside of the zoning ordinance. Staff did not feel that it met those 3 criteria. One of the biggest things is that it doesn't meet the future land use map. So the city has designated zoning or designated land uses along FM 1960 and throughout other parts of the city. And in this part of the city, it does not support industrial.
oh, it does that?
It does not.
Okay, thank you.
okay, I believe that we have a citizen that wants to speak for just a moment. We can allow 3 minutes to Miss Heather Kelly.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us again tonight. If you could reference the PowerPoint that I prepared on page 2. So as you can see on the dimension file, there's notes there, and this is just a proposed rendering regarding the zoning codes that I read on what we have in the city online. And this meets the buffering, it shows the buffering, the parking spaces, which the client does not need as many parking spaces that we allotted here. However, we did propose more just to show that the property will fit on the said plot of land. And, sorry. If you look, Green Shield Products, their company overview, they were established in 2008. They plan to purchase 4545 FM 1960. They specialize in blending, packaging, and distributing polyurethane and silicone products. And they project to employ full-time staff, 25 to 30 employees, which in turn will probably reside here in the city of Dayton. The revenue growth, when we met here last month, it was asked from us about the point of sales. The revenue growth that the company projects that they will go from 10 million to 50 million by 2028. And sales tax revenue based on the 1.5% that the city gets, that would be $150,000 to $750,000 in sales tax revenue for the city. The property value growth for the property's appraisal value is projected to increase from $640,000 to over $4 million with Green Shield Products development. The tax revenue impact is significant rise in the property value. It will generate substantial increases in the property tax revenue, benefiting local infrastructure and community programs. Like I said, many of the employees will be expected to reside locally. Significant contribution to local economy and surrounding businesses, and it will enhance the community appeal and development.
So I have a quick question
Yes,
for
sir.
you on that.
Yes.
On the previous page. You said the revenue growth from 10 million to 50 million by 2028. So you're saying that the point of sale will be here in Dayton for these products?
Yes, so in the state of Texas, when you sell from a certain location, where the product is sold from, that's where the comptroller, that's where you pay sales tax from. So if you're based in the city of Dayton, your sales tax revenue sold from that location has to be taxed to that location.
Right, we just ran into some issues where we had people bringing a business here, but then selling it down in Houston, taking all the sales tax to Houston and just
Right.
storing things here.
Well, then they're doing something wrong with the comptroller. I also own another business, and the way the comptroller works, when I sell product to Houston, Galveston, San Antonio, even in Laredo and El Paso, my sales tax revenue goes to the city of Houston. My location is in Houston.
So, when you talk about the property value growth, what is that estimated time frame? Is that between, is that by 2028 where you see the property value growth going from 748, 640 to over 4 million? Or is that, do you have an estimated time period of how that would,
So, they have, once they develop the property and the buildings are built on site, that property value will increase rapidly. We already see in the city of Dayton, the property values doubling and tripling over the last year in Dayton. I've sold property in Dayton over the last 20 years, and I've seen property values 5 years ago for $25,000 an acre, and now we're selling it for $180,000 an acre on the highway. So that estimated time frame, once they develop it, if they build that building and on site and improve it the way they are, as soon as that development is complete, that value should be about $4 million or more.
okay. Also, you said many employees are expected to reside locally.
Yes,
Based on your estimate or projection, your plan, do you have like a percentage of that, that number that will be locally, or how many you bringing in from outside of Dayton that's not local citizens?
Yes, ma'am. I don't, we do have a representative from the company here. I don't work for Greenfield Products.
Okay.
However, they have spoke that they would like most of their employees to be here and didn't expect but 1 or 2 of those employees to not be local.
Okay, so I think I asked that question the last
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
Also, one other thing, and I don't know if you're the person to answer that question. What is your the midpoint or the average salaries? Are these like, what would be the starting, the low versus mid-range to high salary expectations?
So I know that relatively, I'm not the person to answer that, but I know when we met with planning and zoning, they did speak to that, and maybe the gentleman could answer that. Yes, he could answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is McLean Hess. I'm Vice President of Technology and main chemist for Green Shield. On the lower end of the scale, I would expect probably between 50 and 60. On the upper end of the scale, probably 120 to 150 depending on experience.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. So where we were just saying that it diversifies the city's economic base with increased tax revenue and reinvestment into the city services, infrastructure, and community programs. It also strengthens the local economy and improves quality for all life of the residents. Oops, sorry. I'm on the wrong way. There will be no public storefront. Operations are focused on mixing, packaging, and storing, and then truck shipping the product. Comparable truck volume to general commercial business. So 3 to 4, maybe 5 trucks per week. Very comparable to general commercial sales. They meet light industrial standards, although in the zoning code, there is no light industrial zoning in our current code. There will be no loud noises, no noticeable smells, and no outside production. There will be deed restrictions set in place so that all future users would have to adhere to all the same rules.
What about outside storage?
Outside storage, no, sir.
No.
Okay. The current zoning, as I said, doesn't include light industrial, and this company really falls under the light industrial class code. Rezoning ensures proper alignment with operations and future growth. Again, deed restrictions during the title transfer will ensure compliance with agreed upon uses of the property. And I have some visual comparisons here I understand that these are grandfathered sites for when the zoning was put in place. These properties sit 1/10 of a mile and 3/10 from the said property. The two grandfathered industrial sites located 1/10 of a mile and 3/10 of a mile from the property. They're older sites and they pose potential aesthetic and safety concerns compared to Green Shield's modern facility. The existing industrial sites in proximity, I tried to get a good aerial shot. The weather we've had has been pretty cloudy, but you'll see here that D.R. Horton development is there, and the Plaza Plastics Corp. And manufacturing that's 3/10 of a mile from said property is almost directly across from the D.R. Horton development. And F&C Fabrication and Concrete Services, that is 1/10 of a mile from the said property, is almost next door to D.R. Horton. It's one track over from D.R. Horton development. And then on this slide, you'll see that this is what this is a proposed rendering. It will look something close to this, but much nicer, of course. This is just a digital drawing. They will create jobs and boost our local economy, enhance city revenue and infrastructure development, a modern, clean facility to replace the underutilized property, which was once very deterring to the city of Dayton. It's a win-win for our city. Rezoning to industrial supports economic and community development, aligns with Dayton's vision for strategic growth, and it let's create a stronger future together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming better, or the group coming better prepared this time than the last.
All right, if there's no other questions, can I get a motion on item 8A?
I motion that we approve ordinance number 2024-28, approving the zoning map amendment request for property located at 4545 FM 1960, Dayton, Texas, legally described as Maysville Block 11, Lot PT Track 3, to make a zone change from rural agricultural to industrial.
1 second.
We would also want to make a recommendation for the approved site plan.
This is part of the motion. That way it includes that site plan.
And the attached site plan.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Item 8A passes. Item 8B, consider with possible action on resolution R 2024-91, allowing the Dayton Police Chief to approve road closures on City of Dayton streets.
Mayor and council will just come to you asking at this particular point, instead of having to bring it back to you every time that there's a parade or whatever, be able to allow the chief to close the road on the requested.
I make a motion to approve resolution R 2024-91, allowing the chief to approve road closures.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 8B passes. Item 8C, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-92, approving festival dates for the Dayton Old Time Days Festival 2025.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Anna Smith, Dayton Old Time Days Festival Chairman. I wanted to ask if y'all would please consider the dates of April 11th, 12th, and 13th of 2025 for us to host the Dayton Old Time Days Festival in the downtown Dayton area again.
Do you know if there's any other festivals going on at Liberty Fairgrounds or anything else around?
There is not. On the third week is the Dayton, the Liberty Boat Trade Days, and then prom is 2 weeks after us, so we make sure to cut that smooth.
What was the dates again, I'm sorry?
April 11th, 12th, and 13th of 2025.
Okay, there's no questions, can I get a motion?
I move to consider with possible action on resolution R2024-93, 92, approving the festival dates for Dayton Old Town Days Festival for 11, 12, and 13, 2025.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, C passes.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have to abstain. I serve on the board.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right, item 8D, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-93 regarding the purchase of a vehicle for the Dayton Fire Department.
Mayor and council, this item was actually previously approved in the 2024 budget under the CIP. However, Dayton did not purchase a vehicle at the time. We were actually given one by Public Works. They had a spare vehicle, so we made the attempts to use that vehicle. In roughly the 8 months since we've had it, it's been in the shop at least 5 different times, accumulating roughly 6 to 7 weeks where we haven't been able to use it. All of which has caused issues with us providing services and installing new customers for Daynet. So what I'm proposing and requesting is that we're allowed to use the same fund to purchase a vehicle to replace this one, so we have a much more usable and dependable vehicle for Daynet. And this would be a cap of not to exceed $50,000.
So you would be getting like the same kind of vehicle as what you have now?
It depends on the actual cost and what we can get. We're going to use buy board so that prices are pretty much already agreed in. But we can get that within the $50,000 limit.
So are we looking at, I mean, I guess the question is, are we looking at purchasing another truck, or are we looking at a van, or?
To be realistic, I would prefer that we have a van specifically for fiber services. One of the big differences between some of the fiber work that we do as opposed to some of the other work that the rest of the city does is we do need somewhat of a clean environment to splice fiber. Doing this on the side of the road without a tent, a hut, or a trailer makes it difficult. So we can leverage the inside of the van to pull fiber in and do splicing that way. The preference would be a van. Of course, price would dictate that. They're fairly comparable. The size vehicle would be either something similar to an F-250 or a T-250 mid-rise van. Both of those are Ford products.
So I guess my question is, we have a working truck and we're trying to get out of the weather. Instead of buying another vehicle, can we not just get a hut or a tent or whatever you were just saying?
I guess we could, but that doesn't solve our dependency issue. This vehicle is notoriously for breaking down. When it breaks down, it breaks down. The last time it broke down several weeks ago, it was in the shop at Ford for over a week. And that's time that we can't afford not to have a vehicle. Now, I will say graciously, Public Works has been able to provide some assistance, and that assistance come in the form of several different ways. Either they provide a vehicle, which, you know, and reluctantly so, I can understand, Public Works doesn't always have a substitute vehicle. When they don't, what they would do would be provide a driver and a vehicle. So now we're taking a vehicle and another employee away from Public Works just to I guess, chauffeur and pull a trailer for Daynet.
Can I ask, sorry, don't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Perkins, but Do you know what the estimated, how much we've estimated, the cost to date, repairs?
I wish
6 to 8 weeks?
I wish I could tell you, I don't have that amount. I can tell you we've lost several, subscribers because of it.
How many miles is that on?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's, I believe it's less than 95,000 on it. It's a 2012 model F-250. And it is a diesel, and it does have a DEF system on it. I think Murphy can speak to some of the chaos with that system. One of the problems is that Daynet does not do any long distance driving, and that vehicle is susceptible to short trips, and that's what we do. We stay within the city.
You said the magic word DEF. I understand a little bit about trucking, and DEF is a problem across the board if you know anything about trucks. They're always having mechanical breakdowns, mechanical issues. If you have the DEF system, you do spend a lot of money, and your vehicles do stay in the shop with the DEF issue. So is the DEF primarily the reason you're having to put it in the shop, or is it the same maintenance issue, or it's something different each time?
It's for this last, it was definitely DEF. Now we've had starter issues, we've had other issues that I think electrical system issue, not to a major extent, but some that did take time away from the vehicle.
Okay.
Now, and again, I do want to reemphasize that this was something that was approved previously. We just chose not to purchase at the time.
I have a question for John. I know that you buy a lot of vehicles, more so than anybody I know. $50,000, what does that get you nowadays?
I know a lot of trucks, different vans, I couldn't tell you on the little vans, but.
I can tell you anywhere from 42,000 to 48,000 respectively on buy board. Now, if you go right to the dealer, who knows? Through buy board or co-ops like that, 42 to 48.
And where was this money being allocated from? Is it
No, sir. The 135 fund, I believe, is what it's coming from. Again, this is something that was previously allocated and
The capital projects fund, there was, whenever we came to council, they approved 2 vehicles. One was for Daynet and one was for Public Works. Public Works did. No, 2.
I think they bought 2.
Yeah, but that was from another fund. We budgeted only 2 for the CIP because one was for Daynet and one was for Public Works. So, but management chose not to buy a vehicle at the time.
So basically, you guys wanted to kind of save money by using, you thought you could save money by utilizing the vehicle from Public Works, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's been in the shop 8 months. In the last 8 months, it's been in the shop quite often, and it's.
Well, and to add to it, I think we're down another 2 to 3 vehicles, if I'm not mistaken, Murphy, within the Public Works too, as of recent. So we do have vehicle issues. It's either, is Daynet going to get a vehicle or is Public Works going to get a vehicle? Either way, I think there's going to be, necessary to purchase a vehicle.
So these funds that you said was already approved in the past, so those funds didn't roll over into this year's budget, or this was this year's budget you're talking about?
So we didn't touch the funds last year, so they would have to roll over. So I would have to do a budget amendment to carry it over this year. But it was budgeted for last year, but we didn't purchase the vehicle because management said to put a stop on that. So the money is there. We just need to do a budget amendment to do a carryover. But it was approved by council back in.
So basically, you're saying that we have the money, right? We just need to do an amendment because it carries over. The funds carry over to the following budgeted year. You just need to do an amendment to secure those funds or allocate them for the purchase of the vehicle.
Yes, because Public Works purchased their vehicle.
Yeah.
We didn't purchase
They put theirs on hold because they tried to find a better option to save money.
Mm-hmm.
But that option is not working. Okay.
You're correct.
So, the money that did not get spent last year, is that part of the 2 million that we rolled over from general fund?
Yes, the 1.1.
So it's already been allocated and rolled over into the general fund?
No, we have to roll it over. We have to do budget amendments for that, but that was one of the purchase that was not done last year. So yes, we do have to roll over that amount.
So instead of using it to fix roads, we would use it to buy a truck?
I mean, it was already allocated last year.
Right, but we stopped it.
Yes.
Okay.
So how would this, let's say the worst case scenario, we say keep using the vehicle and keep putting it in at the shop. How does that affect, Daynet's future customers or installment time? How many, are you gonna lose customers because of breakdowns that you have to wait until you have another vehicle to come and install? I know there's several people who had a delay getting their installments and they actually decided to switch over to Dayton. I know that because they were like, well, they supposed to be here on this day, but they did, and it came up maybe almost 4 or 5 days or almost a week after the fact. But do you see potential loss of customers or delay or back hours that because you can't get to them in a timely manner?
Yes, ma'am, there's always that possibility. Anytime that we can't do an installation within a reasonable, and literally a reasonable amount of time, we do run into that. Some of the impacts obviously would be potential loss in subscribers, which we're steadily, I believe we've already exceeded 300, which is 190% increase over last year. With basically a shoestring budget and a shoestring staff. This is just gonna happen again. I mean, we're consistently driving short distances, and with this vehicle, it's just not geared for that. So it's going to happen again.
And as we're growing, you have other installations as this community continues to grow, correct?
That's right.
And so you're having to depend on an inefficient vehicle to utilize in your installations for what we have now, but not even what's to come in the 25-26 timeframe or the next year.
So my question is actually, and Brandon, stop me if I'm out of line here. I'm looking through the agenda item, and I'm looking at the very next agenda item with contracting with Proper Works for the 95er relocation project. How is this money, spending this money on a truck gonna affect the money for that, or is it?
It won't touch it, it's different fund.
Okay, all right.
Can you use bond money to buy that truck? Like whatever money's in the,
I believe we could. My question in reverse would be, why would we? Because that definitely would impact what we could leverage that money for specific to other growth opportunities within Dayton.
Well, I mean, we were using it for just about everything else at this point too, so.
Understood, but why would I take from one fund whenever it's already allocated from another and it doesn't impact my operational fund? That doesn't.
Because the Daynet fund
Fair
would fund Daynet projects, and the other money could be used to fix roads.
Fair enough.
For myself, I would rather you showed up with 2 or 3 top vehicles and how you want to have them outfitted and what they would cost. Because I know for me to do a purchase order, I've got to have everything before. So just a vague up to 50,000, it doesn't tell me what we're going to get. And that's kind of what my thought is. Would be just if you had something a little more to show, whether it's a van, truck, or whatever, whether you're going to put a Daynet sign on it or you're going to try to wrap it. I'd rather you tell me in advance so we know what we're going to spend. But I mean, that's my thought.
Fair enough. The max would be 50,000 for a vehicle that would be leveraged and used specifically for the advancement of our utility services at Dayton.
So can I ask this question? So can you come back to the next city? I like to think outside the box, right? Is it, could you come back with, let's say, 3 different, price marks of what you can you go out and do an estimate and then come back to us and say, hey, here's 3 vehicles that I think that are sufficient for the work that needs to be done. This is the cost, and give us something that we at least know what we're looking at. And then whatever else city council wants you to include in that, and then present it to us at the next council, or would that would impact, installation or services if we waited to push this out by the month? Give you time to, give
Sure,
us
I will
a
absolutely.
presentation or
If you
something.
want 3, 6, or 9, whichever you prefer, that would be.
Because I like to be fair. I want to be fair. I like to be fair and give you an opportunity to, present to us exactly what you need to get your job done, make your department run sufficiently, but give us something to go on.
Absolutely. No guarantees that what we have won't break down between now and then, but of course.
Just note it. Thank you, Jenny.
Okay, with that, I move that we table resolution number R 2024-93 regarding the purchase of vehicle for Dayton Fiber.
All right, I have a motion to table with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it is tabled. 8F, consider with possible action on resolution R 2024-96. Oh, I'm sorry. Consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-94, contracting with Global Fiber Works for the US 90 fiber relocation project.
Mayor and Council, this particular resolution is to comply with the utility relocation requirements for the overpass on Highway 90. That overpass specifically goes over the UPR or crossover. We did put this out for bid once before. And also, let me back up, and I might add that this particular service line that we have, or this block of fiber that we have, is very critical to the servicing of the Gulf Inland Logistics Park. Also, on top of that, coupled with what we currently have as fiber, there was a grant that was issued that tied to this fiber that I believe it was part of the EDA grant. I believe that's what it was. That went down Stilson Road, so it provided services outside of, or other than the fiber, but it also included the fiber. So there was a grant that was involved in this. So this is something that TxDOT said that we have to do in order for them to put the overpass up. And I certainly make the request that we do allow this to move forward. We were at the very end of the timeline. We've been working on this for right at a year. It hasn't been an easy stretch dealing with TxDOT and the railroad at the same time. We've received all permits from the railroad, and we're ready to start move forward with this relocation. So I do ask that we move forward. So you're about to ask what the cost.
Well, I was going to ask what the time frame was for them to start.
But I'd like to hear the cost as well.
Yep. So fair enough. I'll keep your socks on for a minute. Let me tell you the timeline. So the timeline is to be completed by the end of this year. So December 31st is the allocation. This particular project would take us roughly 2 to 3 weeks to make this move. So we do have time frame to do this. And the cost, Mr. Barnes. We did receive, unfortunately, just one single bid in 2 attempts. This bid was posted the City of Dayton website. We also posted it on CivCast, which is another RFP type site. Same one that we had several other postings as well. But the actual cost was, bear with me, I want to give you the exact total bid of $149, $126, and 44 cents. This would, unfortunately, most likely come out of the fiber fund.
questions? If not, can I get a motion?
I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-94, contracting with Global Fiberworks for the US Highway 95 relocation project.
I'm sorry, Tommy. Most likely or will?
Most likely or will.
The money will come out of
It will.
the bond money, that's the bond fund? Okay, so will definitely?
Yeah, and I do want to add before you make your second, this particular fiber will feed everything and anything west of the intersection of Highway 90 and 146. That includes the new development at Grand Parkway and 90 or FM 1413 and 90. I believe we just met.
And it also services our wastewater treatment plant.
That is correct, as an active customer.
Second.
Okay, a motion with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
8F, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-96 to reject all bids for the Waring to North Culvert Repavement Street project and authorize staff to rebid the project.
Mayor, council, we received one bid on Waring, and it was an alternate bid. It wasn't, I'm sorry, it's not on. It wasn't, it was an alternate bid. It wasn't what we had sent out for. After talking with Public Works Director out of Mount Bellevue, Public Works Director out of Liberty, the black base that we had been talking about this whole time about building the roads, y'all recall that black base? It went through the roof on prices. So they went a different direction. They went with a concrete slurry, which is way cheaper. So that's what I'm asking you now to reject this. Let me go out for bids, and I really want to finish the whole road, not halfway down the road, to go all the way to Tenaway and do a concrete slurry to see what the prices come back on that.
What was the original, like you said do the whole road instead of part of the road, what was it?
We were going to go from Winfrey to Colbert.
Okay.
I want to go from Winfrey to Tenaway.
Okay.
You said you were gonna go from Winfrey to Colbert,
Mm-hmm.
but you wanna go from Winfrey to Tenaway.
Yes, ma'am.
Not East Waring.
Okay.
East Waring.
So you're gonna start out where?
We're going to start at Winfrey on Waring and
Okay.
go all the way to Tenaway.
Okay. Got you. Also, let me ask this question. On that concrete slurry, what is the, you know what the compound of that, what concrete slurry is? What is it? Is it a mixture of raw concrete with some other?
It is concrete. It is
solid concrete.
It's a concrete slurry. It looks just like concrete. And they're going to mix it into our base that we already have.
Okay.
And form a foundation, and then put a 3-inch overlay over it, asphalt.
And it has a much longer life expectancy.
Talking to Mount Bellevue and Liberty, they both love it. They're holding up.
Yeah.
Durability.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay.
I motion that we approve resolution number R 2024-96 to reject all bids for the Waring to North Colbert repavement street project and authorize the staff to rebid the project.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. 8G, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-97, authorize Breeze and Nichols to start the reevaluation and renewal process for impact fees. And this is the CIP stuff, right?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is a project that deals with our impact fees that the city currently charges. Just as a reminder for everyone, the impact fee, the intention of that is to make new growth pay for new growth and not have current citizens have to borrow money to pay for infrastructure for development coming in. Under our impact fees, state law allows for a fee to be charged for water and sewer for any new customer. So right now that's about, if someone wants to come in and put in a new home and connect a new house in Dayton, they would pay about $11,000 in impact fees. That money then goes into a special impact fee account that can only be spent by the city on certain projects for new infrastructure that is where that infrastructure, water and sewer, is used to help with growth. So it doesn't go in there and we can't use it to pay salaries or do anything like that. We have to use it on expanding our sewer plant, those types of projects. And also under state law, the CIP is the capital improvement plan. That is the roadmap that the engineers made for the city when the impact fees were first created that says these are the expected projects that we think will be needed, and this is the money that would be needed to do it, and that's how those impact fees were set. Under Texas law, you have to redo that every 5 years. And so we are in year 4 right now, and since the CIP was first done, Dayton has grown in ways different than was expected 4 years ago, right, from what that original plan was. We're seeing more growth out 90 and 1960 and along the Grand Parkway. And so what we would ask is the engineering firm Freeze and Nichols is who did it the first time, and they've been very helpful with us as we've gone through this process trying to figure out, what exactly is an impact, what can we spend these fees on and everything. Since that time, they've been very helpful. What we would like to do is authorize them to go ahead and start the process of redoing the CIP, which we have to do before you can renew your impact fee. And frankly, time is of the essence on this one because we have a year to get it done. And it's anticipated that it'll probably take about 9 months to get everything completed on that project. As part of that, they would work with city staff, with our other engineers that work for the city to try to figure out where is the growth going, what do we need to do to really long-term plan for the city. What water wells do we think we may need 10 years from now, what sewer plants, lift stations, that type of thing, and where would they go. And so that would be the purpose of this, but we need to get started on this soon. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we don't know the exact price. We paid around $400,000 for the original CIP and impact fee. They estimate that it probably costs around that same amount again. Now, luckily, it can be paid out of impact fees. That's one of the things that impact fees are allowed to be spent on, which we currently have $1.7 million in impact fees that are sitting there. The key here is if we don't do this, we won't get any more impact fees, right? So we're going to go back to not letting the new growth pay for new growth. And so we would recommend that you approve this resolution and let us get Freeze and Nichols, get this ball rolling so that we can get this thing done as quick as possible.
I have a question, Brandon.
Yes, ma'am.
Considering that you anticipate the cost to be about the same as it was to start with, do you think it would be worth it to us to put this out for bid?
So for engineering services, price can't be a factor. So even if we went out, it would just be an RFQ. So it would be based on qualifications, and you actually legally can't take the price into consideration when doing that sort of a thing. And so, one of the reasons he anticipates that it could be as expensive is, frankly, we're making big changes to the CIP, right? And we've had, as we saw tonight, 1,000 new homes. We have some rapid growth coming. So there's going to be a lot of engineering work that has to go into figuring out what do we need, where do we need it, and yes, ma'am. So I do think timing-wise, if we're looking at a 9-month window to get it completed, being able to use the people who did it the first time, they're jumping off and able to get moving a little bit quicker than we would otherwise.
And Chris, you would be working with these people?
Sorry, yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-97, authorizing Freeze and Nichols to start the reevaluation and renewal process for our impact fees.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 8G passes. Thank you. 8H, consider with possible action on ordinance number 02024-29 regarding the zoning map amendment request for a property located at 810 South Winfrey Street, Dayton, Texas 77535, legally described as Dayton, Block 2, Lot 4, Tract 9, acres, 2.0 acres, to make a zone change from rural agricultural to general commercial.
This particular item is just behind us, actually. So if you go right down Rukowski, there's a small strip of land between the intersection of Rukowski and this proposed lot. There's an existing home on the site. South Winfrey Street is a transitioning road that is going from its traditional residential style into a faster, more commercialized corridor. We've already had 2 developments proposed. One is open now on Winfrey, going closer to 90, but moving in this direction, staff looked at the proposal and we agree with the zoning change. Now, just like the item we mentioned before, this applicant is proposing a change of zoning with the site plan. Again, the site plan gives us parameters to limit how the development can be developed in the future. If it were to change dramatically from the proposal, then we have to bring it back before you all for that change to occur. So again, we're going to ask that you all consider this item for a zone change from rural residential to general commercial with the proposed site plan. And you have the ability to condition the site plan. If you so be it, I'll walk you through the details of what they have on the site already.
What are they wanting to put in?
They want to use this site for a bridal shower event center. Yeah, an event center. So the existing house will be rehabbed into a commercial space, and then they will hopefully add additional pavilion in the back, and of course that comes along with the commercial parking, etc. What this site plan does not show is the detention pond, if there is going to be detention required for the site. Once the engineer considers the impervious surface created by the parking lot, that may be a requirement. It may not. It just all depends on how much storage they can find on the existing site, and if they want to do it underground. So those things can come into place. But as a zoning change from general commercial, from rural residential, rural agriculture to general commercial, we think it makes sense for it to go commercial, being along South Winfrey Street. Planning and zoning looked at the criteria. They agree with staff. We both recommend approval.
So this is the property that's right out here?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
And nobody's gonna live there, right?
That's correct. It will be converted to a full commercial building.
All right. If there's no other questions, can I get a motion?
I move that we consider with possible action on resolution R 2024-97 authorizing.
We're on 20.
I know, yeah. Well, consider with possible action on ordinance 02, is that O or 0? That's O. Okay. O 2024-29 regarding the zoning map amendment request for property located at 810 South Winfrey Street, Dayton, Texas 77535, legally described as Dayton Block 2, Block 4, Tract 9, acres 2.0, to make a zone change from rural agriculture to general commercial.
With the site plan.
With the site plan.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 8H passes. 8I, consider the possible action on resolution number R 2024-98 regarding the abandonment of the city's right-of-way and unimproved segment of Paul Street that is located on the west side of North Cleveland Street, Highway 321.
This particular item is a area of land just to the west of the visible or improved section of Paul Street. Let me get mine on there. So as you go up 321, on the east side is the improved intersection of Paul Street and 321 here. Across the way, there is actually city-owned easements and or unimproved right-of-way one running north and south here, and then also this connection here that would align with Paul Street. So this unapproved section is the subject of tonight's discussion. The staff was approached by the owner of these tracks here, one being the church to the north and to the south. They want to purchase this portion, or they want to obtain this portion, the subject area, to make this a full one piece of property. That would require the city to officially abandon this section of right-of-way for him to do that. Now, tonight, we're asking you all to have a discussion on how to move forward with it, whether you want to abandon it, one, that's the decision. If you do decide to abandon it, how do we want to treat the property? Do we want to ask it for market value, or do we want to grant it to the landlord?
As a reminder for council, if we abandon a street that is not one that we own the dirt underneath, it's one that we just have an easement, which this would be part of. If the city abandons that right of way, then the property owners on either side automatically take to the center. And so in a case like this, where the property owner owns both sides, if y'all did, you wouldn't do it tonight, because tonight is just to discuss and give us guidance on how to proceed. But when we bring it back, if y'all want us to, for an ordinance to abandon it, once you did that, the church as the owner of both sides would then immediately take to the center. So they would own that little piece. One of the things that I think we would, if y'all would like to move forward with this, that would be helpful, would be to have a survey performed, a survey done of that little piece, that we could ask the church to have that part done. That way we would have a needs and bounds of exactly what it is that we're abandoning. Anyway, so that's that. The other thing is, as Chris mentioned, you could choose to say, hey, it's our right of way, we'll abandon it, but you gotta give us fair market value. We've done that in the past for other things. We've done it both ways. So we wanted to come to you guys for guidance on how to proceed.
What about the property owner on where all the writing is? All that property owner, what about them? Have y'all contacted them?
I think the church owns all that, don't they?
No, not on this backside. There's a larger piece of acreage here. They actually have access to the south of this piece.
So if they wanted to develop it for homes or do something in the future, where's your access going to be? It would be where the road would normally be. That's why I'm asking.
No, it would be to the well, it could be, yes. So if they wanted to use the existing right of way and improve it, they could. But it doesn't limit them from road frontage because they have access from other roads. So they'll still be able to have adequate platting and road frontage from another roadway that is actually already improved.
Is this property on the west side of 321?
Yes.
And do you know what the value, do you know the value of that piece of property to date?
We do not at this time. We'll find out depending on what you all give us direction to do tonight.
And do we know who the owners of this property is?
Oh, yeah, this is ours.
We own it, but the entity that's asking for.
Oh, yes. The church, I believe, is in the name of the church.
What church is it?
Church and Lifestyle Fellowship.
Church and Lifestyle.
And so if we did decide to give up this easement, it would put this little tract back on the tax roll?
Correct. Yes.
And that's
If
only.
you need direction, I'd say get the value of the property before we do anything.
Understood.
Is that what you're asking? Kind of
Well, yeah, so
Need
that
the value of
would
the property.
determine on, yeah, if that's what you want us to do, we'll definitely do that.
And before we asked them to have a survey done and pay for a survey, we wanted to know if this is even something y'all would entertain, because we didn't want to have them go pay for a survey and then council not want to proceed.
Say that again?
I would entertain it.
I said, we would ask the church to have it surveyed, right, so that we're not paying for the survey. And so the thought was, we wanted to visit with you guys, because if y'all weren't in favor of abandoning it all, we wouldn't ask the church to go pay for a survey.
Yeah, they're taxing, there's no.
Yeah, sorry. You're correct.
But we don't need that piece for anything, like we don't actually, there's nothing there for us, it's just a hindrance to the church having one long piece of property.
When we looked at it, we have no, we talked to Public Works, whether or not it was a functioning easement, we have no use for it at this time. It's just dormant land that was left over from old planning from years ago.
So do we want to make do we need to make a motion to have you go and get the property values, things like that? Or?
So the resolution that's in there is just to authorize us to move forward with the process, and it would be to have them have it surveyed. And if you wanted to add for us to get pricing, we can do that as well, and I'll just put in the resolution to include that in there.
Say that, what does it need to include?
So ask us to go get appraisals, or I'm assuming you don't want to pay for an actual appraisal. What we would do is we would look at the CAD and look at the land around it and do a per square foot price based on that appraisal and come back with a per square foot price and with the size of the land after it's surveyed to come up with a price. So if you approve the resolution, you could approve it with the amendment that we had come back with a price.
All right, so can I get a motion?
I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-98 as presented by Brandon.
Second.
Nice words. I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain there.
Okay.
I know the parties.
We have 3 ayes, 1 opposed, and 1 abstained.
Who's opposed? Sorry. Me? Okay.
So item 8I passes. Item 8J, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-99, approving the electrical outlet updates at the community center.
Mayor and council, we're coming to you this evening to ask to use some leftover bond funds from a 2018 bond to update the electrical system inside the ballroom, specifically for the Nutcracker Market and any other events that we have. Currently and in the past, anytime we have the vendors in there, the breakers trip, we're constantly having to have staff come and reset it for us. And now that we've expanded the event to a 3-day event, we don't have to want to worry about that happening again. We did receive 2 bids, one from Dayton Electrical, one from Hensey, and staff is recommending that we go with Dayton Electric. Like I said, this is leftover bond money from a 2018 bond that was already allocated to replace the gutters at the community center. So I did talk with Leslie in finance, and she did agree that we could use those funds for that.
What was the bid that you guys are recommending?
16,700, I believe.
16,954. And there's enough money left over to
Yes, ma'am,
cover the
there's
entire
currently
thing?
36,000 left over, and we would use the 16,900 for that.
I'm assuming Murphy's gonna be overseeing that.
Yes, sir.
All right, if there's no other questions, can I get a motion on 8J?
I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-99, approving the electrical outlet updates at the community center.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 8J passes.
Thank you.
8K, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-100, approving the recommendation of the selection review committee to award by resolution a contract for the city's administrative services pertaining to the application and implementation, if awarded, of the city's disaster recovery reallocation program projects funded through the Texas General Land Office and authorizing the execution of the contract.
Mayor and council, we went out for bids for administrative services pertaining to the application on this disaster recovery reallocation program. After reviewing the proposed bids, we did select GrantWorks to, be the administrative services for this particular project.
And were you,
We had 4, proposals sent in on this, and we scored them, and Grant Works ended up coming back. This is a 10% match, by the way, and it's anywhere from 500,000 to 2 million.
oh, it's 10% match of 2
Of
million?
whatever we get,
Yeah.
between 500 and 2 million.
Okay.
How many projects how many projects, did you go for one project or 3 projects?
Just one.
Because you could go for 3 and get money for each one of those 3.
We still have time tomorrow.
Yeah, Thursday is the
to submit.
deadline.
Yeah, and we're actually gonna,
Today is Monday, Thursday is the deadline to get the, if you wanna get 2 more projects.
yes, ma'am, we're looking at 2 different ones on there right now. One was over in that Honeycutt area over there and if we got 2 million, we could do a lot of good over there with the roads. And then the other would be Colbert, Young, Houston area over there.
Yeah, so if you can take advantage of that,
Yes.
take advantage of it. I would put 3 projects in.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, can I get a motion on 8K?
I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-100, approving the recommendation of the selection review committee to award by resolution a contract for administrative services pertaining to the application and implementation, if awarded, of the city's disaster recovery reallocation program projects to Grant Works.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 8K passes. 8L, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-101, approving the recommendation of the selection review committee to award by resolution the contract for engineering services pertaining to the application and implementation, if awarded, of the city's disaster recovery reallocation program projects funded through the Texas General Land Office, authorizing the execution of a contract.
Mayor and Council, this is the second part of this is to do an RFQ for engineering firms. We had 4 proposals also come in on this as well. Jeff Levins with Leeds Engineering would be the one that we recommend on that as well.
Okay, if there's no questions, can I get a motion on 8L?
Who were the other engineering firms?
Oh, goodness. Hold on.
LJA.
LJA.
It's another one out of Port Arthur,
AWM, OJA, Leeds, and TLC.
And we went with these, was it based on cost, was it based on price, or what was it based on?
I did not score those. There were other members of the deal that scored that one.
It was based on qualifications. They don't submit, like Brandon was saying earlier, they don't submit pricing on that RFQ.
Okay, thank you.
Chris was also on our committee. Chris, did you have anything to say about
I motion that we approve resolution number R 2024, since Chris has nothing to say, -101, approving the recommendation of the selection review committee to award by resolution a contract for engineering services pertaining to the application and implementation, if awarded, of the city's disaster recovery reallocation program projects funded through the Texas General Land Office and authorizing the execution of a contract.
Second.
And was that the committee?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 8L passes. 8M, one that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody loves. Consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-102 to approve hiring Texas Pride to complete the pipe bursting sewer line project.
We got another one. So we were working on some water leaks down here on South Winfrey last week. we kind of noticed the ditch was full on one end, and we traced it back and found it going into a hole in the ditch. So we kind of started tracing that, and it ends up going in our sewer line in the middle of the road. So we had a video, and that line is gone. It is collapsed. It's about 700 and just a little bit over 700 feet long, and this is not we have to do this. This is the middle of winter. I don't know how bad it is right now. I mean, the line is bad, but I don't know if it's got any big voids in the road or not to cause wrecks. We got to move on this.
How quickly can they get on this?
Immediately.
Okay.
So this one just moved to the top of the list.
Very.
All right, if there's no other questions, can I get a motion on 8M?
I motion that we approve resolution number R 2024-102, to approve the hiring of Texas Pride to complete the pipe bursting sewer line project.
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 8M passes. It is now 8:07 p.m. and I hereby recess this city council session into executive session. Central Appraisal District Board.
I move that we approve resolution R 2024-104 to appoint or to cast our votes for the Liberty County Central Appraisal District Board to Mr. Don Deaver Sr.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion with a second to appoint Don Devers to the Liberty County Central Appraisal District Board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 10D passes. Item 10E, consider with possible action on real estate matters. Item 10F, consider with possible action regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal.
We are doing real estate.
Yes, we are doing the real estate.
Consider with possible action on real estate matters discussed in executive session. I'm sorry, we've already had two of these already, so. Consider with possible action on real estate matters discussed in executive session.
I move that council cancel any leases for office space at the community center and authorize staff to give notice for same.
Second.
I have a motion with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 10E passes. 10F, consider with possible action regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the city manager of Dayton.
I move that we terminate Kimberly Judge as city manager for cause.
Before can I say something before we vote? I want to just let the public know that I, as city council, did not participate in any decision in terminating with cause. I stand on the fact of principle. I want to be able to walk out this building with clean hands, with my truth being told. I have been subjected to a lot because I stood for what was right. Even when my fellow council members have their own opinion, I'm always going to be in the right, and I'm always going to be on the side of right. It doesn't matter who the person is, what their race is, their creed, their nationality. If someone has done wrong, and I know, and I believe within my heart that I have evidence that I feel that they've been done wrong, I'm not going to stand on the side of anybody else for no personal agendas. I'm not going to be participating in siding because of popularity. I didn't take this position or run for office for popularity. But I want the taxpayers to know, the people within my community, people who support and have, just want to know what's going on and how we're conducting business. I oppose to all of this foolishness that have taken place from day one. And I want the record to show that. And I stand on that. Regardless of how anybody feels towards me, this is my position to stand on what I consider the side of right.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
I oppose.
Item 10F passes. I think we have one more motion to make to name our interim city manager.
I move that council make Derek Woods interim city manager and also give a monthly stipend of $1,950 a month.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 10F passes. I need a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Reggie, can you tell us who the crosshair is there and how really?
So it says right here.
I've got a table full of that stuff at home. I didn't see it on the table.
I gotta get on the road.
Hey,
I got 10 hours drive.
I usually just toss it.
Well, you did.
Easy.